So within the history of the WWE, there have been a lot of great champions and a lot of bad champions. Well, today we're going to go over the worst champions in WWE history, and we're going to do it right now. So starting at number 10, Big Daddy Cool Diesel. So Big Daddy Cool Diesel won the title by beating Bob Backlund in 1994. He wasn't the greatest in the ring to begin with. He wasn't even that great on the mic. I mean, the material he was given or what he ever was saying, it just wasn't connected with the fans. Diesel, aka Kevin Nash, is a natural heel or a jerk. He works better as a heel. You can tell as soon as you turn heel later in the year in 1995, he just naturally is better as a heel. You try to make him a sympathetic babyface that is just not connecting, and he's in the ring with guys like Brett and Shawn who are way better in the ring, way better on the mic. He just got outshined. And you put him in the ring with guys like Mabel and thinking that he was going to get over. It just did not work. But who should have been the world champion during this time is the one and only Owen Hart. Owen Hart, throughout the year of 1994, built credibility as being a top guy by beating Bret Hart at WrestleMania, by winning King of the Ring. It was believable at this time that he could be a world champion. And he should have beat, in my opinion, Bret Hart at SummerSlam, or they should have stretched it out to one more pay-per-view Survivor Series and have Owen Hart beat him there. You got to remember, people did not like Owen Hart because he was so just menacing and annoying, and he was just terrible to his brother Bret, who everybody loved. And I think he got true heat that people really wanted him to get beat. And I think he could have told that story that Bret has never beaten his brother, so that way going into WrestleMania 11, Bret finally beats his brother Owen, and you can have Bret have another reign.
A dream come true. It's a dream. Wake up.
Diesel being champion wasn't too sweet. So by 93, Vince McMahon had it in his mind that he had to get rid of all the old guys. Your Hulk Hogan's, your Roddy Pipers, your Randy Savages, because it's all about the new generation. It's about the new generation. But then you put the world title on Yokozuna. To be about the new generation, you're doing an old trope from the 80s of putting the title on a foreign guy, on this foreign monster. That it didn't connect anymore. That was passe. And Yokozuna wasn't having the greatest matches. He never talked. So I just don't understand the purpose of putting it on Yokozuna. And by the time he lost it and was beaten by Bret Hart, he did. First of all, the way he even lost the title to Bret Hart didn't put Bret Hart over at all. So I just think it was stupid to put the title on Yokozuna when if it's supposed to be about a new generation, supposed to be about athleticism, it's supposed to be about a new attitude. So for me, if you're going to put the title on somebody around this time, from the summer 93 to WrestleMania 10 in 94, I think the perfect person to put the title on around this time would have been Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect resembled everything I just talked about, from being completely the 90s, the new attitude, the new generation, athleticism, in ring. It's not about these slow clobbering matches and rest holds. It's all about fast pace, in your face. Like, that is Mr. Perfect. I think he would have been the perfect candidate to wrestle Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9 and carry the title for a year. Hell, even give Macho Man Randy Savage one more run with the title.
Oh, yeah!
From the majority of 2003, Raw was all about Triple H. Everything centered around Triple H. All the segments centered around Triple H. Triple H did these long 15 to 20 minute promos, and then he will beat guys like Scott Steiner, Booker T, Goldberg. Like, it was horrible, man. It was a true reign of terror because Triple H, as great as he thought he was not that damn good.
Let's talk about you hogging the spotlight so many times over people who deserved a spotlight.
The person that should have been the world champion on Raw in 03 is RVD, Rob Van Dam. He was something new, something fresh, someone that people were truly behind. And we were waiting and anticipating as soon as he debuted in WWE, when is he going to be the world champion? And he didn't do it for years down the line. But I think RVD being the champion, I think would have been a great way to go, as well as Booker T also. And Booker T was someone that people were behind as well. And WrestleMania 19 is a match that nobody will ever forget because it was one of the worst calls ever made in a WrestleMania title match ever. By having Triple H beat Booker T throughout the lead up to the match, telling Booker T that people like you don't become world champion, trying to say, oh, it's about WCW guys. No, it's about his complexion.
Is it because I'm black?
Again, everybody that ran into Triple H during this time, by the time you were done with him, you looked worse for it. For me, RVD, Booker T should have been the guys to be world champion during the reign of terror on Raw in 2003. Now, can you dig that? So Kane, throughout his WWE career, has never had a long world title reign outside of one title reign in 2010 that was completely horrible. Kane in 2010, maskless Kane, looked like a big ass thumb Kane, who was completely slow, couldn't move anymore. This is the time that Vince and WWE Creative decided to put the title on Kane on SmackDown 2010. Like, why? All to set up a feud between him and Undertaker that we saw a decade earlier. We did not care about another Undertaker-Kane feud. Oh, promos by Kane. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And the person that should have been champion during this time, in my opinion, CM Punk. CM Punk in 2010, in my opinion, was still the best heel in the business, still the leader of the straight edge society, and knew how to connect with the fans to get people to truly hate him. And by the way, he was also great in the ring, which I don't know if you could tell not by this point in my list that I actually like wrestlers that can actually wrestle. Go figure, like. But yeah, CM Punk not only can go on the mic, he can go in the ring, and he can have matches with anybody and make it work and make it look good. And that's what a world champion is supposed to be. And he already had a great feud with Rey Mysterio throughout 2010. I think you continue that and do what WWE did with Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho in 2008. Make the world title truly mean something and make Rey Mysterio and CM Punk for the world title the feud for SmackDown until you decide to put it on Edge later in the year at the very end. But that's who should have been champion on SmackDown 2010. By the summertime to the winter is your one and only best in the world, CM Punk.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
It's a shame. Sheamus in 2009. I really could go any year here. Sheamus in 2009. Sheamus in 2012. Sheamus in 2015. Like, I could really go any year here, but I feel like the title reign that was the most egregious was his first title run by beating John Cena, of all people, the face of the company, Sheamus, who was a rookie at the time, beat John Cena in a TLC match in 2009. And he held that title going all the way into almost all the way into WrestleMania until he lost it to John Cena in an Elimination Chamber match. And it was just like, Sheamus he wasn't ready. And he never truly was ready. Like he just had no true connection with the fans. He was solid in the ring. He was brutal and he was physical, but just like his personality, it was just drywall. It just didn't work. And the fact that Sheamus, who just got to the main roster in late 2009, could beat the face of the company, who were considered the best of the best. I don't care if that it was a tables match. The fact that Sheamus beat John Cena, it was just like, huh? It just didn't make no sense. For me, the person that should have been the world champion was the one and only MVP, Montavious Porter. Like, MVP had all of the intangibles, the it factor to be a world champion. He could talk, he could walk, he looked like money, he wrestled like a king. Like, he had it all. I never understood why MVP never became a world champion at least one time. One time. MVP by 2009 was still over with the fans. He changed his attire a little bit, did not look so much like a Power Ranger. And I just don't get why they never saw MVP as that guy. To me, he could have been the face of the company. He could have been a guy to take over for John Cena. MVP he had it all, man. There's nothing he lacked outside of bad creative from the WWE. So MVP for sure by 2009, going into WrestleMania 26, in my opinion, could have been the world champion. Why? Because big things popping, little things stopping. Oh boy. Jack Swagger, in many people's eyes and in my eyes, was always kind of just like a comedy character. It was hard to really take him serious, and it's because, unfortunately, of his lisp. He couldn't really talk like that. He was solid in the ring, but he just didn't have that it factor. They try to really make him a pseudo Kurt Angle, right? He's an all-American, right? He has athleticism, and it's just like, yeah, that's true. It's true. But he doesn't just have that it factor on the mic. Doesn't have that it factor truly in the ring. He just didn't have a real connection with the fans. And by putting the title on him on SmackDown, and then they completely changed his character to where he's supposed to be pseudo serious and put on suits, but then has an eagle as a mascot. It was just like, what the fuck? What are y'all doing? It was horrible. It was horrible TV. 2010 was a bad year for WWE. Like, Shawn Michaels retiring, like it just everything went downhill. He had the Nexus, and then they ruined that. But anyway, for me, the person that should have been the world champion around this time should have been Christian. Christian, who people were behind, that been waiting for years for WWE to finally push him, who had the talk, had the walk, great in the ring, and then eventually down the line, as we can see today, Christian has always been better as a heel. Showed it in not only in AEW, but showed it in TNA with the instant classic Christian Cage. Like, Christian is just a natural heel. And I think eventually you have Christian turn heel by having people provoke him, saying that he only won the title because of Edge. He always will be in Edge's shadow. And Christian as a heel, going up against your Rey Mysterios, going up against your guys on the SmackDown roster, on the face side, I think would have worked a lot better. Even facing your Undertakers, I think would have worked out. But Christian, for sure, I think should have been the champion on SmackDown in the spring of 2010 going into the summer. Because that's how I roll. What is going on? You put the WWE title on the Miz? And I know there was a lot of folks during this time that had the nerve to be like, oh my God, he deserves it. Oh my God, he worked so hard for it. And oh my God, it's just like, huh? No.
So obviously, since he's mid-card for life.
Like, Miz being world champion just wasn't believable. He was so not believable as a world champion that people actually thought in 2011 that a 60-year-old Jerry the King Lawler could beat the Miz for the world title. He just didn't have that it factor and that aura of a world champion. Brian Alvarez said it best that I have to believe that you can kick my ass when you're the world champion, when you're the face of the company. And nobody, even though Miz might be a great fighter, just nobody believed that when Miz is in the room, that he's the baddest motherfucker in the room.
He's a geek.
The person that should have been the champion around this time was for sure Randy Orton. They should have just kept the title on Randy Orton. Why? Because the story they were telling going into WrestleMania 27 was a certain guy that knows how to hold grudges, and CM Punk. CM Punk should have won the Royal Rumble in 2011. CM Punk should have challenged Randy Orton for the title and beat Randy Orton for that title. That's what should have happened. Like, it's just that simple. Like, I ain't got more to say about that. That was not awesome. Now, I don't know who was high that day that pitched to make Jinder Mahal, who was a jobber for most of all his WWE career, who was in a 3-man band. And it's not like he did what a Drew McIntyre did, was reinvent himself, got great in the ring, got great on the mic, and eventually developed into a main eventer. No, Jinder Mahal went directly from a jobber to being world champion. And it was horrible. So much so that I really missed most of it. Like, as soon as I saw that Jinder Mahal became champion, I was done watching SmackDown. Like, I'm not gonna do it. Nope, done. I was done. Like, I'm not doing this with y'all. Like, especially when we're coming off of Bray Wyatt, who, after time after time after time of getting just bad booking, finally put the title on him, only for him to be a transitional champion and pulling on Randy Orton, like Randy Orton needing another world title reign. You put the title on Jinder Mahal when you had a guy who was ready, who everybody believed in, everybody was behind, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I do not understand for the life of me how you can see a Jinder Mahal and how you can see a Shinsuke Nakamura and say, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jinder guy. Like, what? It has not even nothing to do with looks, but in terms of just talent. Jinder Mahal, if you gave Jinder Mahal maybe the ability to develop, maybe started having him win matches, maybe develop the character, I think by 2018, yes, he could have been a world champion, but he wasn't ready. Shinsuke was ready. He was different from anything we have ever seen in WWE. And he didn't even need to talk. His charisma was good enough just by his body language. I don't understand how you don't make Shinsuke Nakamura by 2017 your world champion on SmackDown. I'll never understand that. I'll never get it. Never. Like,
Sorry, no speak English.
We saw this guy be a mid-carder for 5 years. Actually, more than that, because he was with the Blackjacks for years before that. So for almost a decade, he was a mid-card tag team guy, and within a span of a month, without any pure development outside of a haircut in a suit, we're not supposed to believe this guy is a world champion material? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just like, I can't believe, like, I wouldn't have been mad at all if you put the U.S. title on him. Elevate the U.S. title. It fits his gimmick. He's supposed to be Mr. America and supposed to be the pseudo Trump guy, right? Who eventually Trump. It's crazy how the world works. Like, he would basically be Trump before Trump. Like, put the U.S. title on him, elevate the U.S. title, and then have somebody beat him at WrestleMania 21 for that title. I would have been mad at that. But you're world champion, meaning that you are the absolute best. And it's it's Bradshaw. You put the world title on Bradshaw.
The only reason you were WWE champion for a year is because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesday.
The person that should have been the world champion, I think it was easy money, if he would have ran with it, was Booker T. Booker T got traded to SmackDown with the Dudley Boys thanks to a trade between SmackDown and Raw, which Triple H originally was supposed to be on SmackDown. Paul Heyman with the infamous line, the only reason why you were champion for 10 months is because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays. It was true. But in my opinion, they set it up. They set it up as soon as Booker T debuted on SmackDown in 2004 after the WWE draft. Booker T just shitting on the entire roster and just burying the show and having the whole roster and locker room mad at him. Booker T should have been the guy to be the champion on SmackDown for 10 months. And going into WrestleMania 21, lose to John Cena. They really put the title on Bradshaw, man. Tell me they did not just do that. The great Khali is the worst world champion of all time. There's no redeeming qualities about him. Couldn't talk, could barely walk, couldn't wrestle, nothing. There was nothing he could do. Absolutely nothing but look menacing. Outside of that, there was nothing good about him at all. I hate that the Longest Yard movie happened, because if it wasn't for that, then Vince McMahon would have somehow saw him and would have gotten him. I hate goddamn Adam Sandler movies. It's like, damn, God, man, damn. I didn't mention this with Jinder Mahal, but a lot of it had to do with trying to open the India market. We're trying to open the India market, so we're going to put the title on this guy, hopefully, so that we'll have more foreign fans. It's just like, y'all think about that, but you'll never do that in terms of, like, black people. Like, why don't you never put the title on black people to just get more black people at the show? Like, what are we talking about? You never put the title on an Asian person, or a Latino person. Like, come on, son. Great Khali had no business being a world champion. The guy that should have been the world champion should have been another monster that was on another show that should have went over to SmackDown. And Umaga should have been the world champion, bro. It's just that simple. Menacing, great in the ring, had a great manager, was believable, had a connection with the fans. Like, people were truly scared of him. Like, that's what a monster is. Umaga got arrested, so that's what a monster is supposed to be, for sure. And Umaga being a champion in 2007 on SmackDown in the summer, I think that would have been awesome, and that would have been great to see. But we never got to see it. But those are the worst world champions in WWE history, from 10 to 1. Let me know who you think the worst world champions are and why. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, share all the things. Welcome to the High Bitch. This is your hardcore casual fan. With that being said, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.